Okay, so today we're going to be talking about keeping our chickens safe from pesky little marauders. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here this morning. It's October 2019. So we got a beautiful morning, nice and early. We've got a lot of things to get accomplished today. One of those things would be working on our chicken run. So we did a video on our chicken run here. I'll link it for you so you can take a peek at that, where we talked a little bit about how we had our run designed so that it's essentially going to allow us to utilize a future pasture, which will be right here, for our laying hens. So one of the major things when it comes to your hens is keeping them safe from predators. So out here we've got some interesting predator options for our chickens. So the first and probably the most important would be coyotes. So we do have a lot of coyotes. We have open range out here, so we got cattle. Not worried about them from a predator standpoint, but it's completely open. So first issue would be coyotes. We want to make sure we're keeping our chickens safe from coyotes. Second thing would be anybody else's dogs or cats. So we do have neighbors across the street. You can see them back there. 4 of them to be specific. So we want to make sure that anybody's cats and dogs don't wind up getting into our chickens and not have fun with the neighbors. So we also want to watch for that. Now we are near a wash, so we're a few hundred yards away from the largest wash in Whitman. That wash has javelina, not worried about them. However, things like that do attract other apex predators, and one of them would be a mountain lion. So we do know we have a mountain lion that roams freely down that wash. Have a lot of sightings of that here, not far from us. So we do know that we have a couple of different predators we need to keep safe from. Now I'm guessing we might have a raccoon or two. I don't know for sure. Obviously that's not something that you normally see a lot of here, but it's a possibility or a potential. So essentially what we're doing today is we want to make sure we're ensuring that we do not have a problem with those predators. So what we're going to be focusing on today is actually going to be the base of our run. Obviously it's chain link, so as far as the top portion of this, not worried at all. Nothing's going to get in there that we're concerned about. The top is also enclosed, so we're not worried about that. So even if that mountain lion jumps up top, she can't get in. However, digging and scraping, that can happen along the base of the run. So what we're going to focus on right now is we're actually going to go ahead and reinforce the base of this chain link. So let's go ahead and talk about materials for today. So materials for today are pretty simple. I'm going to have a pair of gloves because we're going to be working with hardware cloth. So we're going to be using a 3-foot hardware cloth. This is actually 1/2 inch. We got 3 feet, so it's 3 feet wide and 1/2 inch squares, which is plenty of protection for our chickens. So our plan is to bring this about halfway up the sides, and then about half of it actually going to basically just go onto the ground here. So essentially what that's going to do is keep anything from being able to reach right in and grab onto our chickens. It's also going to keep them from being able to dig underneath. Now our dirt here is extremely hard. We've talked about that before. It's caliche mixed with clay, just hard stuff. It's like rock. So Lori and I have gone through, we've scraped this as flat as we can. Don't need it to be perfectly flat. However, we're going to go ahead and allow this to essentially drape down. You'll see that here in just a moment, which will keep anything from digging down and getting underneath. So we just want to make sure that we keep those predators away. We think this is going to be a great option. So gloves for that. Also, we picked this up on Amazon, and I'll leave a link down below to our Amazon shop. This actually is a hog ring plier, and this came with some rings. So super simple tool. We need to have something to attach the hardware cloth, at least semi-permanently, to our fencing. So we're going to use hog pliers and we're going to use some hog rings. So we utilize that to attach it to the top here. So without further ado, Lori, you ready to get to work? Let's go and do that now. So these hog pliers are pretty easy to use. There's a spring that holds these up, and all you do is just load one of the actual rings right in there. It'll hold it for you. And then we're trying to keep track of where we're at. So we want to stay even and hit the same part of the chain link each time. And all I'm doing is going to a corner, and it just clamps right around and holds that nice and snug. It's going nowhere. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue to go around, we're gonna add these hog rings and try to get all the way around here, and then we'll come back and show you what it looks like when we're done. Okay, so we're done. So that took Lori and I about an hour and a half or so to get that knocked out. So kind of go over a couple of the quick details. So as we showed you before, we essentially wanted to come up about 18 to 20 inches up on the side. That'll give plenty of space to keep a cat from being able to reach up and grab one of our chickens in case one of them's kind of hunting and pecking down in here. So we got that about 18 to 20 inches here, which gives us about a good, 18 or so inches down, coming down to the ground as well. So we did secure it at the top and the bottom with the hog rings. That did a very, very good job of cinching this nice and tight, but at the same time it gives along with the fence. So that was really ideal for attaching this to chain link. So those hog rings were fantastic. By the way, those hog ring pliers worked great. I don't know how many I put up, probably 100 or so of those rings, and it worked fantastic. That thing's pretty cheap. I don't remember the price, but I'll make sure it's in our Amazon shop for you guys to check out. But did a great job doing that. So now really all we have left, we're going to put a 2x2 piece right here on our chicken gate. So we still need to come back and do that. And then we do have to deal with our doors. Let's talk about that real quick. So here we are at one of our doors. We have two of these doors that are going to be our biggest challenge because these do swing open. So there was no way for us to attach it this way. So what we are going to do, because we want to make sure we don't have anything digging, although I'm not sure they could do much as far as the soil, but just in case, we're going to actually bury some hardware cloth right down here under the ground. So we'll have that come out a couple feet, bury that down into the ground. So if something does start to dig, they'll hit that stuff before they can actually get up underneath. And then of course what we do need to do, if Lori wants to scan down that way, you're actually looking at what will be our pasture on that side of our chicken run. We do need to bring some soil in because when they went through and they were finishing up and trying to level the house, so build the grade, they had to dig out quite a bit of dirt in order to get that graded. So we are gonna have to get some soil brought in. Haven't figured that out yet, but once we do get that soil brought in, we'll actually bury that. So that'll be a few inches underneath the ground, so you won't actually see it. So again, just in case someone wants to try to dig in, grab our chickens, ain't gonna happen. So we've got the bottom secured, so that's good. Now what we need to take care of is we need to take care of giving our chickens a little bit of shade. So obviously you can see we're out here, it's about 10:30 in the morning, bright, blazing sun. It's only about 75 degrees or so, but it's very, very sunny. So we want to make sure that our chickens are going to have some shade protection. So what we have is we have some 6-foot shade cloth, and that's going to be temporary. So let's talk a little bit more about that. This is the shade cloth. We got this on Amazon. I forget how much it was. I want to say it was like 35, 40 bucks, something like that. I'll have it down in our Amazon shop. Also got some zip ties, so nice heavy duty zip ties that we're going to use to attach this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're going to attach this on the front of the coop and run here. This is actually facing the east side, so the east or morning sun will be coming in this way. So we want to make sure they have plenty of shade to get out of the sun in the morning. Obviously we have our corrugated roofing that we talked about in our coop build. So we have our corrugated roofing up here, so we'll make sure that they have plenty of shade to get underneath through about half of the run during the middle of the day. And then we're going to come back and do the same thing on the west side. The only thing we're going to skip would obviously be the coop. We don't need to try to get any shade cloth on the coop side. However, we're going to get shade cloth on the east side and the west side of the run. So let's go ahead and get that up now. Okay, so we got the front side done. That actually went pretty quick. It was kind of nice. We have the breeze coming this way, so it stuck the shade cloth right up against the chain link. Now what we need to do is do the exact same thing on the back side. We're gonna go knock that out and come right back. Okay, so we got that done. So now we have our shade cloth up on the run. So it doesn't matter where the sun's gonna be during the day, the chickens are gonna be able to get out of the sun. So now one of those questions that I'm sure you're probably asking is, Dwayne, why are you putting a temporary solution up? Well, obviously we grow things here. So our plan is the permanent solution will, of course, be trees. Trees and or vines, I should say. So whether that's grapevines or some different type of tree, fruiting trees, obviously, that's the goal, is to eventually get this entire area replaced and completely covered with some type of vine and or tree. So these are designed to last about 3 years or so here in our sun. We'll probably get 2 years out of that, which is enough for us. We can get something down in the ground, so that way when this starts to fall off, we can essentially just replace it with natural shade and protection. That would be fruit trees. So that's about it for today. I think at this point we're ready for the chickens to move in. We got a couple small things to wrap up here. We're moving in this weekend as well, and next weekend, so we're also coming here. We wanted to make sure our chickens had a permanent home before all of us were here next weekend. So I think we're actually there. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Questions or comments, leave those in the comment section down below. Instagram and Facebook, we post content there you won't see here on the YouTube channel. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That is a free, painless way to help to support the channel. If you start your Amazon shopping there, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you.